It's finally here. Let's talk about one of the most hyped movies of all time. What's going on, guys? I'm Chris, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be giving you my review of Dune, the latest Denis Villeneuve film that is an adaptation of the science fiction novel. The son of a noble family is entrusted with the protection of the most valuable asset and most vital element in the galaxy. So before I give you guys my thoughts on Dune, definitely hit that like button, comment your thoughts on the movie down below, make sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on any future reviews, rankings, all that good stuff. I have a lot to say, a lot of thoughts that I want to get out, so this is just going to be a very laid-back movie review. So it is no secret that this movie had a monumental amount of praise and hype, and I'm here to say that I think it is a good movie. It is, don't get me wrong. I don't think it's a masterpiece. I don't think it's the best thing since sliced bread. I think that it's a good movie. I mean, the first thing I noticed right when the movie started was how gorgeous it was. It was one of the prettiest movies I think I've ever seen. And it's no denying that it's going to get technical awards nominations across the board. I could see it getting production design, sound, obviously visual effects, likely cinematography. This movie's going to get a ton of nominations. Has a damn good shot to win a lot of these technical awards. A lot like Mad Max Fury Road when it comes to just the practicality of these gorgeous landscapes, and I think that Dune showcases that perfectly. I also think that Hans Zimmer's score is really good. It's not one of his better scores in my opinion. Obviously, it gives me chills in multiple scenes because that's what Hans Zimmer does. He's one of the GOATs. He might be the GOAT, actually. Between him and John Williams. Topic for another time. And the movie also does a damn good job of world building. Like, this is such a rich story in a massive world that it makes sense that they have to take so much time to establish all the different houses and establish all of these different rules and devices and just honestly laws of the land, if you will. The movie has to take its time to set up this world because there are so many various aspects that the audience has to understand in order for this movie to really carry any emotional weight or to really make sense for audiences who may not have read the novel. I have not read the book. So in many ways, it does feel like the first time I ever watched Game of Thrones, and I watched it with a friend who had seen the show before. So if I had any questions, he could definitely clarify some things. I want to know how many pages of the book this movie actually covered, because while it does take its time to set up this world, and while it's really immersive from a world building aspect and setting up this galaxy essentially, there's really no denying there's a ton of information to process in this movie. And while I comprehended the basic story beats and the different families and houses, it never really felt like there was an end game to me or a clear objective for our characters. This is a clear part one, but it feels like there's no real finality in the end of the movie. And in a sense, it kind of just felt like a really long prelude to the actual Dune movie that we're going to get whenever part 2 comes out. I now feel like I understand this world enough to be like, okay, it's time to actually watch Dune. So it almost felt like a really long trailer to the actual Dune story. I don't know if you guys feel that way. If you've seen the movie, please let me know in the comments down below. But I almost felt like it could be empty at times. The movie ended and I was like, that's it? It's over? It was disappointing in that sense. I thought there would be more. I mean, I hesitate to say it's mismarketed, but I think that general audiences will be upset with this one in a sense that this is not some grandiose action epic. And that's what the marketing is kind of going for. It's definitely politically rich, a lot like the prequels, right? And a lot like Game of Thrones. And I'm very aware that apparently Lucas was inspired by Frank Herbert's novel. So that makes total sense to me. But to call this an action movie, I don't think you can. And I think that's what a lot of the general audiences are going into it thinking it's going to be. So I'm very interested to see what the Rotten Tomatoes audience score for this movie is, because I feel like it's not going to line with most people's expectations. Now, I started to tamper my expectations before this movie started because I had some people reach out to me and tell me, hey, Dune might not be this action epic that is being marketed as. And I said, okay, I'm going to tamper my expectations. So I went into the knowing that. I had a set of expectations for this movie based on the hype, that it's a masterpiece. And it's not, in my opinion. It's a good movie. And I understood what happened, but I'm underwhelmed. And I think that it almost feels emotionally empty at times. And it upsets me to say that because the performances are so great from Timothée Chalamet and Oscar Isaac, notably. And Rebecca Ferguson in this movie is great too. But there's so much information to process in this movie. It almost felt like I never really got to know the characters. And for me, I'm a massive character plot guy in movies. That's just the way I am. That's the way I'm structured. And so that's why I love such fantastic stories like Harry Potter and Star Wars, where there's a clear end game for these characters, and there's a clear motive for every single character, and we get to see these arcs play out. And I think that Paul Atreides' arc, Timothée Chalamet's character, is well done. I do. I think this is his story. But I don't know if this warranted its own entire movie. This almost felt like watching a massive documentary on the world of Dune. And like, it was a docuseries played out in a sense that we saw everyone that we need to know. And we got to see what the world is like because it's constantly teaching us, essentially. I felt like I was being taught while I watched this movie. And so now we're prepared to see the Dune movie. That's basically where I'm at. And a rewatch could clear some things up, but I'm at the point where I don't think this is some masterclass movie. Technically, I don't even know how some of these shots were made because it's gorgeous and the visual effects are stunning. But from a story perspective, it's lacking in my opinion. And I think this is just setting up the next part. And I think knowing, like, audiences go in and they see it says Dune Part 1 right when the movie opens, that might upset some people because that already tells you we're not going to get this finality. We're not going to get to see the end of the story in this movie. And I fully understand this is a massive novel and it would be almost impossible to fit everything in one movie. So I totally get that. But because of that, I almost don't want to even give a score for Dune until I finish seeing the movie. Next time we see Dune Part 2, I'll have seen the Dune movie. I don't feel like I've seen the movie. I feel like I've seen a part of the movie. There's a whole nother half of the movie I have to see. So because of that, I'm not going to give my score for Dune until I see the next movie. I feel like this is one long movie that they had to chop into 2 parts. And it's very clearly that. It's very clearly an ending of Lord of the Rings, in my opinion, where it immediately falls into the next one. And because of that, I don't feel like this was a complete movie. Again, technically, brilliant. Performances were great. The world building was so rich. And it's a world that I do want to revisit. I want to learn more. I want to revisit this movie and see if a rewatch maybe changes some things for me. But I can't say that it's a masterpiece, and I can't say that it's the best movie of the year. It's not even Denis Villeneuve's best movie, in my opinion. I just feel like sometimes the massive, godlike hype that movies get and TV shows can kill it for me. And that's okay. It happens. It's the world we live in. This movie was put on a pedestal from day one, and it was already set up to let down expectations. But take that all out of the picture. Take that out of the picture. And I'm dissecting the movie itself. It's a very well-made movie, one that I will revisit before I watch Dune Part 2. But that's really all I have to say about it. That's going to do it for my thoughts on Dune. Definitely hit the like button, comment your thoughts on the movie down below. What would you rate it if you're giving it a rating? I want to have a conversation about this movie in the comments. Did it live up to the hype for you? Was it a little overhyped? Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any future reviews. My Dune Part 2 review coming in 3 to 5 years whenever that movie comes out. But that's going to do it, guys. Thank you all for watching. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.